Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. So this is the first Saturday of the month. So I'll be going over the daily as well, down to the lower time frames. So starting with DXY, we got that WX extended wave Y. We're waiting for this X2 down to this 38.2 or maybe even the 50 pip before we possibly get that Z up. So nothing's really changed. We're looking for a correction in here. On the H4, we got this WXY. Now we're starting to get a larger correction. Now there can be a couple of different ways we can look at this. We can just look at it as an A, B, C, and we go up from here, or the way I'm looking at it is we get an A, B, C, then we get the A, B, C as a larger correction, and then possibly more upside. So on the H1, it's difficult to sell this at this stage because we do have a possible bull hidden here. Ideally, it goes and breaks this low and then gives us a correction, and then we can look for a sell. Other than that, if we're looking for the hidden divergence buy, we need an impulse up and a nice buy setup to buy, and it'll only just more than likely break that top and then come down for more. So on the AU daily, we got this WX. We're still in this wave Y, so I'm looking for an X2 and then a Z down. So we're still in this wave Y at this stage. So, but I think we're looking at a correction in here. On the H4, you can see what I'm looking at. It's looking very corrective. And we've got a WXY, X2, we got that bull hidden. So I'm looking for this to go up and break the top for that wave Z. So on the H1, again, this hasn't quite broken this top here, so we have a bear hidden. So we definitely can't rule out that this does fall over for another one down in here. But I dare say we'll get some sort of a correction in here, and then we'll look for that Z up. You could buy it for that Z up. EU on the daily. So this is very similar to DXY. We've got that WX extended wave Y. We may be still in that wave Y, and then I'll be looking for the X2 and a Z down. Internally, we've got a WXY, looking for an X2 up to this 38.2 or maybe the 50 fib, and then looking for that Z down to finish off the wave Y. On the H4, very similar to AU, we got that WXY, X2, we got the bull hidden again. So I'm expecting this to go up, break that top for the wave Z. So on the H1, we are looking for a buy. But again, like most of them, we haven't broken this top here, so there is a possible bear hidden. We definitely can't rule out the bear hidden at this stage. Ideally, we get a nice correction in here, and then you could look for the buy. If you're looking for the sell for the bear hidden, you need a nice impulse down and a sell set up to sell to just go and break that low. GU on the daily. So we got that WX, Y, Y. We're looking for an X2 and then a Z down. We are getting a bearish hidden here. H4, there's a couple of different ways we can look at this on the H4. I'm looking, like, we could look at it as an A, B, C in here as a contracting flat, and then we get an A, B, C up, and that's finished the move, and we go down and break the low. I'm looking at it a little bit differently. I'm looking at it as an A, B, C in the B wave, and then we get an A, B, C to complete that B, and then we get the A, B, C. So I am looking for upside. There really isn't much on this as a buy setup just yet. And again, we do have a possible bear hidden here, so you have to take that into consideration, and we really need a nice buy setup, flag or correction to buy. So if you get a nice correction or flag, yeah, you could buy to go up and up to the 100 fib, up to this 100 fib. NU on the daily. So I put this idea out on TradingView a few weeks ago, but on the weekly we got a W large correction in X2 X, and then we've got a wave Y, and then we'll be looking for X2 and a Z down. On the daily, we're looking at like an A, B, C. So I'm looking for these targets, for the weekly targets, basically. On the H4, very similar to the others that I've done, we're looking at a complex correction, W, X, Y, X2, and we're getting that Z up. On the H1, again, we haven't broken this top here, so there is a possible bear hidden. We definitely can't rule that out, but if you get a bullish setup, you can look for the buy. If you get the bearish setup, you could look for the sell, for the bear hidden to go and break that low. UY on the daily. So we got a WX extended wave Y. We'll be looking for that X2 down to the 38.2 or possibly the 50 fib before we look for that possible Z up. The H4 really not playing nicely. I'm just looking at this section here because we got this impulse down here, and then it's gone up and broken the top after the wave Z. And we really, when we got this, we could put this and this together as an A, B, C, and go up and break the top. But instead of going up and breaking the top, it's giving us all this larger correction here. So this is more bearish. So I'm looking at like an A, B, C, and then we get the A, B, C. It's mucking around in here quite a bit, so it is going to be quite difficult to trade. I would suggest to stay out of it until it becomes clearer what's actually happening in here. USD Sheppy. So we got that WXY, X2, and looking for a Z up. We're looking for this X2. Whether I think we're just about completing this X2. So I'm looking at an A, a B, and a C down in here. There's a very complex correction. On the H4, we got that A, B, C, and then we're getting an A, B, C. We're getting a C down. So this can become a complex correction. It's a little bit earlier. It's a little bit early to go into it, because this here, this is the top here. This broke this top over here. So this is the high here. So we have to look at it as a possible running or expanding flat, as an A, a B, and a C for more upside, or it can become a expanding flat. On the H1, we're looking for sells, but again, like these other pairs, we have a bull hidden on this one. You know, so we can't rule out that we get an impulse up and a bullish setup to finish off some sort of a larger correction in here. If we get the sell set up, ideally, like I said, you know, ideally we go and break that low and then give us a nice correction or flag, and then we can look for the sell. UCAD on the daily. So we're looking at this WXY. We're looking for this X2 and a Z up, possible Z up. These so we're at just under the 38.2 fib now, and we can come down to this 50 fib, or possibly even lower if we get a bull hidden. H4, again, this is quite complex, because we've sort of got like a WXY X2, and we're getting that Z down. Now this one's already broken the low here. So on the H1, you can only sell this at this stage. You know, you'd be looking for a correction back to the 50 fib, and then you'd be looking for more downside. GY on the daily. So this is quite interesting as well. We got those 5 up here. We got the WXY, X2, the Z up, and then we got this really massive large correction in here. So we got some sort of an A, B, C in here as a regular flat, because it never broke the top, and then it's just shot up on us. On the H4, we got that A, B, C. Again, I don't think this one has broken that low. No, see, we haven't broken that low over here. So more than likely on the lower time frame would have a bull hidden here. So this can go up and break the top. On the H1, there really isn't any buy setup as such just yet. But if you get a little flag in here, you know, you can look for a buy to go and break the top. Gold on the daily. So in this last part, we got an A, B, C. And I should just go over to the weekly, because now the weekly, we got the time factor on the weekly. So we got a WXY, X2. So we can go up for the wave Z from here. These corrections are of a similar size in time. So on the daily, we're getting the bullish divergence. We got that A, B, C, and we're getting that bullish divergence. On the H4, this is quite complex, because this can become like this can be an A, B, C in here, and then an A, B, C as a running or expanding flat. So that's one scenario. Or this is just an A, B, C in here, and then we get the A, B, C from here. But either way, we can only buy this we got this higher high here, so we can only buy this at this stage. So you'd be looking for a correction in here or a flag, something to buy. Any buy setup you get, you can look for that buy. And of course, like I mentioned, it can go up. You'll have to be very careful because, like I said, this can come down for another one down in here. So that's why it's important to wait for a nice setup in here to buy. But you'd be targeting, if you're looking for the buy in here, you'd be targeting, you know, that 100 fib. Silver. So we got that WXY. So I'll be looking for an X2, a similar size correction as this over here. And then I'll be looking for a possible Z down. H4, it's very similar to some of these other majors. We're getting like a WXY. X2, we had the ball hidden here. So this should go up and break that top. You really, if you're trading this, you know, you'd probably already be in it. On the H1, you'd have to wait for a nice flag. You'd have to wait for a nice flag or a correction to look for more upside. WTI on the daily. So we got this WXY, X2 and a Z down. Now, we had those 5 up in here and we lost all that bearish divergence. So that's why I'm just looking at this as a correction and then we get more upside. But I believe we're in an X2 at this stage on the daily. There's a couple of different scenarios here on WTI. This can be an A, B, and we get a C in here to finish off this B wave. And then we get the A, B, C. So this can become a little bit more complex as well, or we can just look at it as an A, B, and we're getting a C up. Really, it's really not much to buy. You know, you could have put a buy stop above there. You'd be at break even. It didn't give us a nice correction, unfortunately, to get in on the lower time frames. But yeah, we may be coming to an end here. We got a WXY X2. We had the ball hidden in this X2 to go up and break the top. It's gone up and broke the top, and it's broken the top and then given a larger correction and given another one up. And we're starting to lose that bearish divergence. So there's a couple of different scenarios. It may be an A, B, C in here, and then more upside. And this is a running or expanding flat in here. So this is a little bit more difficult to trade. Really, I'd be looking for a little bit more upside up to this 38.2 on the daily, 38.2, this orange line here. So if you do get a flag, you could look for a little bit more. It'd be more scalping than anything. Bitcoin on the daily. So we're looking at this A, B, C. And I was expecting it to go up, you know, but instead we got all this. This is very corrective, like I've been mentioning. And I have to apologize for no video last week. We had a long weekend here in Australia, so that's why there was no video last week. On the H4, I'm looking at a possible A, B, and we're getting a C up now. I'll be looking for price to get up to around this 100 fib here, and then we get an A, B, C before we get more upside. So you will have to be careful here because we will start to get this bearish divergence. We're starting to get this bearish divergence here now. On the H1, you can see what I'm looking at. We're getting a WXY X2, and we're getting that Z up, and we are getting that bearish divergence. So it becomes very risky to start buying up here. SPX on the daily. So we're looking at that WXY X2 and the Z down. We got the Z down, we got the bullish divergence. So one would expect a nice impulse up, correction, and another one up as a zigzag, or even a reversal and go and break the top. Instead, we're getting this. It's looking very corrective. You know, we can see this here. It's looking very corrective. I'd be more inclined to look for a flag down here, or sell set up down here, and to go and break that low, because this is looking so corrective. On the H1, you can only sell this. You need to wait for this correction to be over, probably go down onto the lower time frame, see what's happening in here, wait for your correction, wait for a sell set up, and look for a sell. AU200 on the daily. So we got that WXY X2 Z down. We got the bullish divergence. This is not really impulsive, like SPX. It's not all that impulsive, and after 5 down, we'd expect a nice impulse, but we didn't really get that. So I was looking for WXY, an X2, and then a Z down. This has become a larger correction now. So we sort of got an A, B, C in here as a running flat. So I'd expect this to go up and break that top. So if you do get a buy set up in here, you could look for a buy. It really only be a scalp just to go and break that top. I'll end this video here because to keep it as short as possible. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share. Enjoy your weekend.